What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode with your boy Phrankleen. If you're watching this as a playback, this is a live session. Okay, let's see who is online now. If you can see me, hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. This is going to be a brief session. It's going to be a brief session. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. What's going on? Mind over matter. Tolulokbe. What's going on, people? Victor, Anointed Queen. Good evening. Hit the like button, hit the like button. David Osilaja. What's up, bro? Hit that like button. What do you mean no like button? You have a like button. Anyway, as I said, this is going to be a brief. Well, somebody said, why do you upload so late, Phrankleen? It wasn't meant to be late, as I just got a bit caught up today. I do apologize if it's a bit late for you. It was meant to be earlier in the day, but I got busy. I couldn't get behind, my computer or my phone and to go live. So there is a like button. Anyways, so the UK cabinet approves post-Brexit point-based system to cut low-skilled, migrants. So basically, there's a big football game going on. I do apologize. I don't really follow football like that. I do apologize. So, what's happened is the UK has relied on low-skilled migrants for many years because, mostly from the EU. And these are the people you find, serving your coffees in the local coffee shop, sorting out the fruits and veg in most of the fruit and veg, businesses across the UK, working in the care industry and stuff like that. So, but because of the Brexit, they came out of the EU and there's basically a massive shake-up. So a few days ago, the Prime Minister had a reshuffle. Boris Johnson had a reshuffle of his cabinet. There were people that lost their jobs. There were new appointments and stuff. So one of the big changes is, there are ongoing changes. They're basically rolling it out to the, immigration system, really. So with regards to this update, there is a lot more that should come out in the next few days. So, but here is a problem. That's, they've relied so much on the low-skilled, migrants. So basically, they come from all this Poland, Lithuania, Romania, and all these, EU countries. And a lot of the businesses across the UK have benefited tremendously from, paying these migrants, low wages, get to use them. And in exchange, one of the impacts of the low-skilled, migration is it's affected property prices, particularly if you're renting privately, because what it does is, a lot of people are renting privately. So in renting privately, there's a lot of shared, housing and stuff, and they put up a lot of, in the private sector, prices have gone up, crazy stupid, particularly in places like London and stuff like that. So I'm particularly interested in what that's going to do. There's a lot of immigration reform coming, and this is just the beginning. I want to see exactly what the UK wants to do. They want to, the freedom of movement that the EU citizens enjoy is, is basically come to an end now that the UK has come out. So basically, this new change in the point-based system, which is mirroring the Australian system. So it's from what I gathered, it's basically going to be a case of if they're going to allow you to come in, it's basically based on your skill. So what are you bringing into the system, your educational background? They basically want people that can contribute, positively to their system. And what that would mean is migration to the UK will become a lot more tighter. There will be a compressed number of people that they would allow in. So, for example, if they are in desperate need of architects, civil engineers, IT experts, nurses, doctors, and stuff, so they basically will be going specifically for those, those professions and those people that they need. But I don't know how with the changes. There's a lot of promises they've made to the people in the EU who have been promised that they wouldn't have to then reapply and stuff. But you can't trust the government. They've basically said before the elections that's just gone that there wouldn't be any problems, but it looks like they've moved the goalpost, as I say, in the next few days. But this new point-based migration system is meant to start in the 1st of January 2021. So from now, there's a transition period. It's the same thing with the whole Brexit thing. The UK have pulled out of the EU, but we are now in a transition period, which allows them to put things in place, measures in place, to change quite a lot of things, to establish, trades and, tighten up their borders and whatever changes. So stay tuned. I'm particularly interested in the area of immigration and see what impact, because for a long time, as there's been favoritism in terms of how they treated, people from the EU, and the non-EU citizens are definitely treated differently, as in terms of getting visa and coming to the UK. But we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. We'll see. Somebody saying this is a backdoor to limit blacks from coming in. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, said, the point-based system is not going to be discriminatory to any nation. You know what the government is like. They're saying these things. There's not going to be discrimination. But you and I know that they say one thing, the interpretation of that, when things start to play out, it's a totally different ball game. So they are in a bit of a challenging, or should I say, difficult position. They are in a transition period since they've left the EU now. So a lot of things are going to change. And as I said, I'm particularly interested in what the immigration changes are going to be. So with what I'm talking about now, the government is yet, at the time of filming this, they are yet to actually roll out the full details of the point-based system. My understanding is they are trying to mirror the Australian type of what's it called now, immigration system. But we'll see, though. We'll see. Let me see what people are saying. Some of y'all, yes, the immigrants made this room sharing popular. Before, it was only students room sharing. Yeah. So, the low-skilled migrants, because there was a massive influx from the EU, it pushed up, rental prices particularly in the private sector. It's especially in places like London. It's bloody unbelievable. One tiny box room goes for like 700, 800, 900 pounds a month. And the cost of living is unbelievable. So, the landlords who own property portfolios on the other side, they're laughing all the way to the banks. But the average Joe Bloggs is actually struggling to, survive. And it's reflected across the UK as well. So again, we'll see what changes will come. Let me see some of the comments. My take on this is that there is strength in number in terms of population. A developed country with a good population helps trade. Fair enough. Nigerians should do well on the points-based system if fairly applied. They have the skills. Well, yeah, if you have the skills, I don't think that would apply to every Nigerian. Not everyone is skilled. I'm sure you'd appreciate that. Great content you have here. I apologize. I'm just joining this, so the question might have been asked: how does this affect someone looking to further his education in the UK? When you say further his education in the UK, I'm guessing you're looking to apply as for a student visa. So you go through the normal avenue of applying for a student visa. If you tick the boxes, if they're convinced enough, you hopefully get your visa and stuff. I don't see how that's going to affect. But one of the main challenges is they're not saying don't come here to study, as long as you can pay your fees and you have your educational qualifications to to convince the universities or the embassy and stuff. They're more than likely going to give you, because they want your money. They need that money from international students. Where the challenge is when you are contemplating on trying to adjust your status and hoping to transition and sort of blend into the society and become a permanent resident. That's where the battle starts from. That's where their mask, the UK border force, that's where their mask comes off. That's where they show you what they're made up of. When you're coming to the UK to spend your money, oh, they let you come in. They smile in your face. They will take your money. It's pretty much the same across most of these countries, But when it comes to you wanting to adjust your status and then build a life here, it's a totally different ballgame. These doesn't affect permanent residents. Why should they affect permanent residents? If you're already a permanent resident in the UK, this doesn't apply to you. Like you've got indefinite leave to remain or limited leave to remain, or you're already a British citizen. That has nothing to do with you. So let me see some of the other comments. Let me see. Phrankleen, so does this mean that those who study healthcare management would be allowed to stay? I don't know. Okay, keep your eyes wide open, your ears wide open. In the coming days or weeks, I'm sure. Oh, thank you, Yetunde. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you for supporting the channel. I'm sure in the next coming weeks they'll be rolling out further updates. With what I'm talking about now, it's a fresh. What's it called now? It's a fresh announcement, but they basically are still covering it up. It's coming out soon, so we'll see what they say. Let me see some other comments in here. So yeah, somebody's saying this is a backdoor to limit black folks from coming in. Well, I don't know, we'll see. The only thing that I know for a fact is politicians can't be trusted. I believe it's very simple. The doors will be open only to those who have something to offer the UK society. Absolutely. So in a nutshell, if you have nothing to offer the country, then you will not be welcomed. Exactly. That's where they're going. You see, there's for many years, when Theresa May was the Home Office Secretary, and then before she then transitioned and became the Prime Minister, they've made very ruthless changes to immigration. I think that's already a common knowledge. So they've been looking for ways to reduce the number of migration. So like I said, even the same thing with student visa. Let me tell you, man, long and short is, if you have nothing to offer them, right, there is no sentiment in how they're going about this. They don't care, if you're bleeding, crying blood. Oh, it's basically, what are you bringing to the table? What can I get off you? So for example, if they realize that they need civil engineers, they will open their doors and applications to civil engineers, and if you meet the requirements, they'll give you your papers, they let you come in, because they need civil engineers here in the UK. If they need doctors and nurses and you apply, you meet the requirements, they let you come in. But if you're the bottom of the barrel, maybe you're not educated enough and you're just looking to squeeze in, it'll be hard, man. What if you have a temporary stay and you've genuinely got someone to marry? Consult an immigration expert, okay? Hit the $ on the left-hand side of the chat box if you want to donate. The UK only want to take and not give. You have to be ready-made. You see, I've said this in similar videos or content in the past. While some of these decisions, might leave a bad taste in our mouth and all that stuff, you can't bash them, can you? It's their country. They move the goalposts. Some of them, you look at them and you look at some of the decisions and you think, this is unfair and stuff like that. But what can you do? They're basically, moving the goalposts to favor themselves. Those EU, including African EU, coming here to reap benefits are in tough times ahead. Yeah, so this is a transition phase, like I said. The changes are going to kick in on the 1st of January 2021. I'm trying to look at some of your comments. Can you talk about the global talent visas newly introduced? I'll talk about that some other time, man. If I had enough money to leave outside the UK, I would do so. I'm tired of the microaggression. Believe me, man, it's absolutely nuts. It's just nuts. Is a child born in Britain a citizen if parents are not citizens? Nope. At least the mum must be a citizen or have permanent residency for that child to be able to, get their British citizenship. But as soon as either parent of that child becomes a citizen or a permanent resident, then my understanding is you should be able to then apply to register your child as a British citizen, which will then cost you like £1,000 plus. Once they approve that, then you can then, it's like naturalizing your child, and then you can then go and apply for your child's British passport. It's a money-making scheme, man. It's too expensive. What are your thoughts on Trump banning Nigerian travel rights? I've already covered that in previous videos, man. America is just catering to their own interest. I wish those who are skilled would stay in Nigeria and help those in need. I know Nigeria has a lot of growing to do, but Nigeria needs skilled workers as well. Yeah, you made a good point. Nigeria needs skilled workers. Absolutely, 100%. But the devastating thing is, those fantastic doctors, lawyers, nurses that we have, some of the best minds that Nigeria has got, they're not being looked after. They're not paid properly. I personally know people who have not been paid their salaries for months, for 6 months, 5 months. They have bills to pay, they have children, they have parents, they have their lives to live. Imagine you waking up every day. I live in the West. Even if you're a toilet cleaner, even if what you do for a living is cleaning job, your employer dare not owe you for a month, and the only way people can take advantage of you in the West is if they know you're an illegal immigrant and then you're doing like a backdoor type of work. They know that you cannot talk to the authorities and they know they can get away with it. Then they can get away with that type of illegality. But I'm talking if you're a legal person, you go get a job, even if you're a window cleaner, your employer dare not pay you your wage because they'll be playing with, they're pretty much asking for a lawsuit. It's illegal. They cannot do that. But unfortunately, people do that in Africa and they get away with it all the time. But look at what spending your money in another man's country got you. I understand all of your points, though. Well, you see, spending money in another man's country, I've said this over and over again. It's a vicious cycle. What does low skill mean? It means low skill. Like, people who have next to no educational background. Do you get what I'm saying? So low-skilled migrants are people that, when, like, for example, the EU migrants, when they come here, they work in the fruit and veg sector where they're picking fruits and sorting vegetables and, doing low-paid, jobs and working as potters and, cleaning in the kitchen and, low-end jobs that really don't require skill sets like being educated as an accountant or having skill sets like being a doctor or a lawyer, a solicitor, a barrister or a civil engineer and stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? So they bottom of the barrel type of jobs, really. On the other hand, immigrants from South and East Asia, Europe, Canada, and the Middle East, and more likely than US born up to most Nigerian nurses are in Britain. A huge brain drain is going on. Of course, I'm aware of this. Nah, of course, if you're an EU migrant, you're a doctor. Come on, man. We know that a doctor is not a low skilled. Come on. If you're a medical doctor, you've spent years in medical school to be trained. Definitely not a low skilled migrant. A medical doctor is highly sorted for, sorted after across the world. Why the desperation to live in the UK? If you went there to school, why not leave after your school? Just wondering, and no disrespect. Yeah, no, that's fine, Willie. You can ask questions. It's not desperacy. Okay, let me correct just that bit. Okay, I'll address that. I suppose it's human nature, right? If you were in the shoes of most of the people, okay, people are just trying to better their lives. Do you get what I'm saying? I can assure you, and I tell you this confidently, for most immigrants, even if I choose to travel to the UK or the US, say for example, I'm talking hypothetically now, to go train as a doctor, right? If my country back home is offering a fantastic, the job market is great. There are lots of, work benefits as a career progression, good job, good salary, good standard of living and quality life. Why would you probably only maybe based on tiny number of people might just say, oh, you know what, I just would like to live on this side of the world and have a bit more experience and maybe go back home at some point. Most people will probably just study, just go back home. But one of the reasons that you see that major spike in people emigrating and moving and looking for better lives, especially if you got kids and all that stuff, is the quality of life. And at the pinnacle of this catastrophe is usually the government. Like Nigeria, for example, hundreds of thousands of graduates are churned out every year from the local institutions, the universities back home. There are no jobs. Do you understand me? That breeds criminality, that breeds, crime rate and all sorts. So this is why if I can borrow that statement, desperation, people wanting to look for a greener pasture, a better environment to live their life and stuff. That's why. Because really and truly, when you migrate to other parts of the world, and then most of the time people are treated as outcasts, we don't want you here, you're not welcomed. You know what? If I go somewhere and I realize I'm being tolerated, I'm being treated like a doormat, it's only human nature. I just pick my bag and baggages and just piss off. So, people endure these things, people pay and contribute positively to societies like this. It's because the options back home are not exactly great. It would be fantastic for all the best doctors in the UK, best lawyers, best nurses in the UK, in the US, across the world if they were back in Africa. It would help the citizens of Nigeria. Nigeria's got over 200 million citizens. They need those doctors. They need those lawyers. They need those nurses. But the truth is, there are tons of doctors back home who are underpaid, who have not been paid for months, whose human rights are being trampled upon. What about mass illegal immigration through Libya? Of course, that's illegal. People need to be educated not to do that. Nigerian degrees are useless in the United States. You will start over. Why waste time? Absolutely, because the rating of the country itself is poor. Man. It's the doing of the government. Poor management, lack of accountability, mismanagement of resources. It's basically had adverse effects on the citizens of the country. It's pure and simple, man. So this is why people are suffering, man. Let me see a couple of comments so I can end this in a nutshell. Make it illegal for Nigerian doctors to emigrate. We need them working in Nigeria. Well, if you're going to make people to stay back in Nigeria, you better offer them something. Give them reasons to remain in Nigeria. Let me tell you, people are doctors are in the UK, born and bred in the UK. If the UK becomes like some of these failing countries tomorrow, and the doctors and the NHS doctors that they're not paying them properly, and people are suffering. Trust me, don't be surprised that a bunch of the doctors in the UK and nurses and professionals here will also migrate to other parts of the world. It's human nature. If I know that I'm in the UK and they're not paying me properly, and I know that if I migrate to the US or Australia, I'll get, better salary, better home, better quality of life, I'll just migrate. Fact. So, if you're watching me, hit the like button. There's over 300 people. Hit the like button, okay? There is over 300 people online. So yeah, that's that. And when I get further updates and about the changes to the Brexit point-based immigration system, I'll bring you more information. The reason I share this information is to keep those that might be interested, keep you well informed, hopefully help you make the right decision, informed decision, and then in going forward for the betterment and improvement of your life and improvement of ourselves as a unit of people. All right. So it's your boy Phrankleen. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. My live sessions are usually earlier in the day. Okay, sometimes you might find me doing the evening, but like I say, I had a busy day, but I wanted to go live today because I would normally upload on Mondays anyway. So that's me done. Thank you for watching. And I'll definitely, if you want to send me an email, want to send me stories, foodchannel1960@gmail.com. I'll definitely catch you in the next one. Peace and love. Bye now.